am so excited for my next interview. He not only is my Reverend, but he's also an incredible friend. Reverend Juan has made Unity on the Bay, my church, the church I go to, one of the most well-regarded progressive spiritual communities in Florida, involving it in issues such as homelessness, child poverty, civic engagement, and equality for the lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender community. He and his husband, Tom, who I love, along with their young son, Lucas, who I also love, were part of the lawsuit that brought marriage equality to Florida in January of 2015. Reverend Juan has served on the board of SAVE, the largest local LGBTQ rights organization, and is past chair of Faith in the City, a coalition of in downtown Miami and surrounding areas. And his writings have been published by GLAAD and the Huffington Post. He has served the worldwide Unity movement in a variety of capacities. He's currently on the board of directors of Unity World Headquarters, the home of the Unity movement, which includes Silent Unity and the Daily Word. Whew, I'm exhausted already, Juan. How do you find time to take care of us congregants when you've got so much going on?
You all make it easy.
Do we really?
Yes.
I don't think so.
Before we even get started, I just want to say how excited, how proud, and grateful I am to be here.
Aww.
You bring so much to Unity on the Bay.
Aww.
And through all the things that you do, you bring so much to the LGBTQ community here in South Florida and beyond. And I'm just grateful to be sharing a bed with you today.
Oh, who would have thought that would have happened, right? Tom, you thought that was going to happen? You see? Juan in bed with me. Juan, I got to tell you that, when if it wasn't for Unity on the Bay and AA, I've told you this before, both of those organizations saved my life, literally, and I'm eternally grateful to you and Unity on the Bay for everything that you've done. I'm happy that you're in bed with me too, and I get to finally interview you. So let's start by saying that when I first, so I host services at Unity on the Bay, right? And so what that entails is that I'm kind of like the MC, that, I greet everybody at the beginning, I say goodbye at the end, I do the announcements, I make fun of people, kind of like what I do here, right? Right.
Yes.
And so when we first started, for the first 6 months, I could not say your last name, Reverend Juan. I could not say Del Hierro. Easy enough, right? Del Hierro. Well, I was only about 2 years sober, so maybe that's why I couldn't say Del Hierro. So Reverend Juan Del Hierro. Is that good?
Almost. So maybe another few more years to go.
How would you say it?
You know what's funny? I actually don't say it correctly myself.
Okay.
Because it's a double R, and so us Latin people, we know, the ferrocarril, like you have to practice.
Uh-huh.
So it's del hierro. I know.
So
it's a tough one.
So on top of it, now that I've been giving myself props for saying it correctly, I'm still saying it wrong.
Well, there's always a little more evolution to do, right?
There's
always a little more to grow into.
Yeah, and I'll keep on going. I'll keep on coming back to Unity on the Bay. This is the second time that you are on the FayWhat show. The first time that you were on was during pandemic.
I know.
When you were so humble and sweet to say yes to me, and I was able to interview you from my second bedroom remotely, right?
Yeah.
And how things have changed from then. I remember that you had converted a shed or something into your Zoom office. Is that real? Did you really do that?
We all did everything we needed to do to get through, and I needed a space, so I actually I built it myself.
What do you mean built it yourself?
We bought the shell, but I put the floors in, the walls in, the ceiling.
You're so
I did it all. Trying to keep busy,
You're
trying to keep busy.
When I heard about that, because it was a rumor, right? Because there was nothing else to do during pandemic but talk crap about people, right? So people would be texting each other, do you know that your Reverend just built a shed? And I'm like, how very butch of him, right? And so then, of course, you start talking crap. And then I texted him, did you really build a shed? Yes, I did. Look at it. If you watch any meditation today, you would see the backdrop of the shed. Juan, what did you learn from pandemic? What did you learn from being enclosed and trying to keep yourself busy?
I think one of the things that I'm really grateful that I think a lot of us have recognized is just how resilient we are. We don't give ourselves enough credit for the things that we move through. Sometimes it flows, sometimes it doesn't feel, it's a little icky.
Yeah.
But the reality is that we're making it through, know, and we are able to weave through the challenges and difficulties and come out of it stronger, more aware of who we are, more aware of what we're made of. And I think especially with the pandemic, also who we are here to be and what we're here to share.
Yeah.
Because we miss the connections, right? We miss the relationships. We miss being connected to each other in a physical way. And so who we are as a community, I think we realize is very, very important. And how we show up for ourselves is even more important.
Right, and it gave us like a free, a way of appreciating things more.
Yeah.
You know, we were doing Sunday services when it was just like 5 of us at Unity on the Bay. It was you, me, Reverend Chris, Dale. I think one of the person doing the camera, Jason, and that was it. There was like 5 people doing Sunday service, and they gave me a card in case I got pulled over. And I was just driving like, hey, pull me over! Look, my Reverend signed this. I'm legit. I even sent a picture to my mom and everything. Who would have thought? You know.
You're not still using this, are you?
No, I'm not.
As a get out of jail free card kind of thing? Okay.
I framed it though. I did frame it. I thought it was
that's
super
amazing.
cute. I would have never thought that I would have gotten something like that. So you are co-senior minister right now, presently, soon to be senior minister at Unity on the Bay, a very diverse congregation. When issues like inflation, don't say gay, COVID, the war, war in Ukraine, gun violence. How do you say this is all for the greater good to a congregant that comes to you with all these things happening right now?
Well, I probably wouldn't even say that, right? Because I think as we're moving through challenges, it's hard to hear somebody say, oh, no, just hold still with it because you'll come out of it better.
Everything's going to be okay.
Right, because you're in the middle of it. You're in the midst of it. What I'd actually like to invite people to consider is whatever we're moving through, like, what are we going to do with it? That to me is more important, not like, why did this happen? But what am I going to do with it? And with inflation, with Don't Say Gay, it's a call for us to get more energized, get more involved, really be a part of the community and recognize our place within all these situations and how we can contribute to a greater sense of peace, a greater sense of harmony, better relationships, more love, right? We in Unity, as you know, believe that we are all the expressions of love and light. Sometimes we just don't remember that, and so we don't live it out. And so in those situations, what are we going to do with it? Well, how about we live into our truth? How about we live into the nature of who we are, which is amazing, which is beautiful. And it's exactly what these situations and the world is asking of us for.
I got you. Do you believe that people are empaths?
Yeah, I believe so.
Do you believe that you are an empath?
That I tap into those things? Yeah, I do. I mean, I feel like all of us at the end of the day, if we quiet ourselves, and we take a step back, we're really able to connect with each other and feel each other in ways that are really amazing.
Yeah. I believe that a lot of people at Unity are empaths. We just feel things a little more, and it's been a tough couple of years. Just thinking about the racial justice movement that you guys started. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. After the killing of George Floyd, we realized that we needed to be more active and really step into our value of really honoring and celebrating our diversity and our belief that all humans have a sacred worth that needs to be celebrated and it needs to be really uplifted. And so in response to George Floyd, we had these meetings where we talk about racism, the structures of racism, how they played a role in who we were, out in the world. And from that was birthed the whole new ministry that is doing the work of educating, of advocacy, and also of healing. Because a lot of it, whether it's on race, whether it's about, LGBTQ people feeling accepted, there's healing that needs to take place as we do the things to shift the conversations and to shift the laws and to shift the attitudes within the greater community.
And it's interesting because when you started that, I thought that it was so important when Unity on the Bay started that. It was so important just because we think in LGBTQ that we just know everything and we're privy to that, we were marginalized, so we understood anybody else who's marginalized. And that's not the case. When it came to just social justice and stuff like that, I learned a lot just from the workshops that you had, Do you ever fear not representing anybody correctly? Like not representing the Black community, or not representing the LGBTQ plus community, not representing the Latino community?
Right. So, I think I can represent the communities that I belong to. And then it's my opportunity to create the space for those that are in other communities to feel safe in showing up and showing us who exactly they are, what their life experiences are. So as a Hispanic gay man, I feel I can.
You're gay?
And I find myself in bed with you. Who
I
knew,
know,
right?
who knew?
But you know, for me, even more than how I represent myself or these different communities, it's like, how do I create the spaces for others in the community to show up and feel lifted and feel heard
And feel seen.
We're spending a lot of Sundays together, aren't we?
We really are. No, but we really are. But it's like, look, folks, like, okay, go on YouTube, look up Unity on the Bay, look up one of the services, okay? It's, I've never been part of such a diverse community. I initially went to Unity on the Bay, honestly, because all the homos were there. I swear to God, I went because the gays were there. But once you really became a part of it, everybody's represented. You know, we have Black, we have white, we have Latino, we have gay, we have straight, we have pan, we have everything there, you know? And you end up noticing that lots of us have all the same issues, you know? And a lot of it comes and stems from religion, from growing up in certain religions, you know? And we have a lot of ex-Catholic folks that are part of Unity on the Bay, you know? And my wife being one of them, who has dealt and still deals with PTSD from growing up in that kind of environment, you know? And I know that that's also why a lot of LGBTQ plus folks don't go and seek out a spiritual family like Unity on the Bay because of what's happened growing up. That's kind of your story as well, though, right?
Well, and I want to say, first start by saying that, you know, I think religion uses, you know, or has used the tools, but at the core, the real issue isn't necessarily religion, but it's fear, right?
Yeah.
It's feeling unworthy, and therefore people needing to feel like they have some control over others. So, you know, like the person that feels unworthy sometimes wants to make others feel unworthy. You know, so they can, instead of uplifting themselves, like bring somebody down.
Like misery likes company.
Right. And so religion has used those tools, right? And has suffered as a result of it. I grew up Catholic. I did a lot of self-harm in, you know, mentally and spiritually in not allowing myself to really feel like I could have a deep relationship with God. And a deep relationship with my own religion, because I was feeling like it was pushing me out, you know, or it was telling me I was never going to be good enough to really live into love and peace and feeling worthy of God's love, right? And I think a lot of people are still feeling that. Yeah. You know, one of the things that I'm really grateful for is that somehow I knew that the healing would actually take place when I looked at that, when I questioned that, and when I stepped into a spiritual community that really celebrated me. And I found that at Unity.
And that's a gift.
It is a gift.
That little piece of being aware and going, oh, okay, there's, you know, maybe I don't feel this great today, but there's a big possibility that I'll feel better tomorrow, you know? And it's an evolution. And I think that people just are so fear. They're just so scared, you know? And then they go to a place like Unity and they feel all this love and it's like, wow, you know, I've been missing out. You're missing out.
Well, how many times have we, Faye, heard, and we also experienced that the first couple of times that people show up at Unity, a lot of times they don't realize the things that they need to even heal from. And they find themselves sitting there crying or just immediately saying like, wow, I'm home.
Yes.
You know, I feel whole here.
How many times does somebody come up to you after service and go, that message was for me? How did you do that? That happens all the time, doesn't it?
It doesn't. What's funny is that a lot of times what I say is, really, that's wonderful because that message was for me. Like I needed, what I said is because I needed to hear it, you know, and throw it out there so that I really lived into it. You know?
That was for me.
It's like holding myself accountable.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It makes total sense. Okay, so there's so much going on right now. The Don't Say Gay law passed, right? That they disguised it with the name Parental Rights and Education Bill. You know, they're trying to completely erase LGBTQ plus folks from schools, going as far as forcing teachers to out students to their parents if a student goes to them and tells them that they're gay. You have an adorable son. His name is Lucas. He's 10 now.
He's going to be 10 in December. I know. That's crazy.
Wow. Okay. Well, he was like this small, and now he's going to be 10 in December. Oh, so you still have 2 more years before he becomes a jerk. Right? Isn't it like 12 and 13 when kids start becoming like little a-holes, no?
You know, I'd rather not say on camera. But
Tom,
let's
that was
just
for you.
let's just say that he's ahead of the game. No,
Okay.
he's really
Oh,
he's a
no.
beautiful
He
kid.
is a
But,
sweetheart.
we all have our stuff.
No, of
we
course.
all have our stuff.
Of course. So, okay, but your kid is the age that all this stuff is around. How do you feel about that? How has that changed anything for you as a parent, for you and Tom?
It's really interesting because we've had to deal with a lot of this kind of conversations since he was born.
Yeah.
Right? Because people ask about the whole process. They ask how others.
Did you steal him?
But even yesterday, so we had a couple of friends over. One of the kids is in Lucas's class. He's brand new to the class, and we had them over. And while we were having dinner, he's a 9-year-old. He's like, so how did you have Lucas? Because didn't you need a woman and da da da? And it was like having these conversations, but we've always been very open. And we've always recognized that we have to speak about these things. We can't hide it.
Yeah.
We can't ourselves not feel comfortable with being uncomfortable sometimes, because we are one of the families that some of the people that we run into and that we're a part of in the community, we may be the only gay family that they feel comfortable asking certain conversations with. I will say that with the Don't Say Gay, it's really re-energized me and made me realize that there's even more for me to do and be out in the
Advocacy, you mean?
work. Yeah, advocacy work. It's really important that we all get involved. One of the things that I love about Unity is not only that we profess our values, but that we ask ourselves, well, wait, how do we live into our values? And so how do we do the work of racial justice? How do we do the work of LGBTQ healing and advocacy, right?
Yeah.
Even at this year's gala, we're going to be honoring Equality Florida for the work that they're doing against the Don't Say Gay bill.
Woohoo! You heard it here first, all right? At the Love and Light Gala, that is for Unity on the Bay. It's going to be November 5th at Jungle Island, and one of the award recipients is going to be Equality Florida. Heard it here first in FayWhat. But it's important.
It's really important. We have to give space for people that are doing the work, uplift their work, and join them and support them as much as we can to really make the shifts. I also say that it can be difficult to recognize the ways in which LGBTQ rights are under attack right now. What I remember is, evolution is always taking place. And even in my own life, when I think I've, gone ahead on certain issues that I've had to heal through, I sometimes take a step back, and sometimes I go back to old patterns, and the same thing happens in community, the same thing happens in the US. We just have to be vigilant that when we do take a couple of steps back, or we feel that we're under attack, that we're doing the things to continue to move forward and progress and not feel victimized and not remain a victim to it, because it doesn't move us forward.
Yeah.
Like we can acknowledge that it's painful, that
And
it's
it hurts.
challenging, that it
Yeah.
hurts, that it's difficult. And what do we do with that?
Yeah. What do we do with that? So true. So true. Juan, something that I've loved about you is that, you were a congregant at Unity on the Bay, then you became associate minister, and then now you're going to be senior minister. One of the wonderful things about you is that you're so relatable. You're so, we usually put pastors and reverends up on a pedestal, right? And that's just natural to do. But you've always been, this is who I am. I'm a gay man. This is how I'm an immigrant. This is how I was raised. This is my husband. This is my child. You've always been very open about who you are. Have you ever gotten any backlash for that, for being you?
I mean, I think it's not for everybody, right? And by the way, I appreciate you saying that, right? Because I do try to really recognize that I'm also a work in progress and that we're all doing this together. We can hold each other's hands while we do it, right?
We can walk each other
We
home,
can walk
like
each
you
other
always say.
home, yeah.
Yes. See, I listen.
And so, yeah, I mean, there are individuals who would prefer, having somebody who just feels perfect being the one to tell you how to be perfect.
Got it.
But that's not unity, right?
And that's not you.
That's not me. That's not unity. And I think that's not what people are looking for. People are looking for individuals that they can relate to, and that we can be so vulnerable and say, we're going through the same stuff.
Yeah.
And we're moving through the same stuff. This is what's worked for me. If it works for you, that's awesome. If it doesn't work for you, find something that does.
I love
so
that.
that you don't stay a victim to it. You, like I said earlier, you just continue to move forward.
And evolve.
And evolve.
And something that I learned in AA early on was victims don't get better. You just don't, We've been to a drag show together.
Yes, we have.
And we had a blast at
did.
Sid's Gastropub. Hello, Poison Ivy. We had a blast. Why do you think that DeSantis and all these right-wing people are attacking drag shows now?
I think they just feel like it's easy. A lot of people don't understand it. It's very foreign to them. It plays with their very limited ideas of gender, and how people should be and how people should behave and how people should dress. And so it's a little bit of that. I also think that a lot of it is also just, it's what is alive in some people, and politicians are using it to divide. I don't know if they really are so against it as much as they really want to use a wedge issue to cause harm and to gain control, gain power,
And again, something that they don't understand. Ask somebody about what drag shows are about. It's entertainment, it's an art.
It's entertainment. It's people being who they are, being vulnerable, being open, celebrating who they are, and all of the ways in which they get to show up in the world. And for some people, that's really difficult to swallow, Somebody being themselves can remind them that they're not being who they wish that they were or that they are, and they're trying to hide for whatever the reason. Maybe it's the religion, maybe it's politics, maybe it's family, whatever it may be, We've all been in the closet at some point in some way. And maybe some of the people that are in the closet about who they really are, and I'm not just saying LGBT, being gay or lesbian or bisexual, transgender, or whatever, but just of who they are. It's difficult for them to swallow somebody being their authentic self.
And them not being able to.
Yeah.
No, that makes total sense. You're very active with our community, with the LGBTQ plus community, with immigration issues, with racial justice, like we talked about. And now getting out to vote, has also been something that you have been spewing from the platform.
Yeah.
And how important is it to get out and vote for this November election?
It's so important. It's one of the most important things that we can do. In Unity, we believe in the power of prayer, and then we believe that prayer guides us to take the right actions.
God, please, please, please take out Ron DeSantis. Please make him go away. Okay.
And most of the time, if you're really open to it, I bet what you're hearing back is, then get out and vote, right? Like, you pray about it, you hold it in consciousness, and then you do the work. You go vote, you go vote, you go canvas. I was at a Save Date event this weekend, and, we
both were.
We were, and I told my husband, I was like, get ready. We got to go canvassing. We got to go do the hard work so that we can be part of the shift and the evolution.
So you're the Reverend of this incredible church, this awesome church, and you go and knock on doors in 100-degree weather in Miami?
I've put my husband through so much. That was our third date. I made him go knock on doors in Coral Gables.
And he stayed with you.
He did. Well, it's one of the many things I've put him through over the last 14 years. So
okay, let's talk a little bit.
Something's working.
Let's talk a little bit about Tom.
Yeah.
I love Tom. I love him. What is his profession? What does he do officially?
So he sells textbooks.
Okay.
So he was a teacher, a science teacher when I met him, and he's a science nerd. And
you can say nerd. It's okay, because my wife is a super duper nerd.
Can I also say dork? Because I also think it's
I
really
like that.
It's really cute. I find
You're
it very.
into dorky and
I'm
nerds.
totally into Well, I'm totally into my dorky and nerdy husband. How about that?
I think that's better.
Just clean it up. But yeah, so he and now he sells textbooks.
Okay. Are you both? Because that sounds. Listen, he's saying he sells textbooks, and you guys are like, really? He sells textbooks? He just was in Dubai. Okay, it's not like he's selling textbooks. Like here's 4th grade math. No. It's not that kind of a party. All right, let's say that. So are you guys opposites?
Are we opposites? In some ways, and in some ways we're very similar. The thing that just popped up, we are the opposite love language. So I'm the love language where I need words of affirmation
is
and acts of service. Somebody to do things for me. That's how I feel like I'm loved.
What are the 4 love languages again?
Then there's so it's words of affirmation, touch, so physical touch, time, gifts, and acts of service.
Okay, so 5 love languages.
So my top 2 are his least 2, and his top 2 are my least 2. And somehow we've made it through.
And somehow it works.
Well, we're aware of it, and so we work on it.
Yeah. So how long have you guys been together now?
14 years.
Woo! Okay, you do understand that that's 39 years in gay years, right? Just about. What do you think is your secret? That's a lot of years, Juan. It doesn't feel like it because I've been around for a lot of it, but like, wow, like it's a lot of years.
It's a lot of years. I think part of it has been, part of our success has been to be very honest with each other about where we're at in life, to support each other. On the big things, we really show up for each other. And I think that, that kind of builds a certain level of trust in each other. And, like that I can support Tom in what he feels his life purpose is and his passions are. Like it really makes him realize just how loved he is by me. And he can lean on it when we're in the midst of a fight, And the opposite is true. I mean, Tom is so supportive of everything that I do and really, not only supporting me, but really like bringing me into a greater acceptance of, what am I supposed to do in the world? And he lets me loose upon the world.
I love that. I love that. Yeah. And I think that also Tom is like not a selfish person when it comes to that, because he shares you with all of us, and when you were associate minister, you could, do your thing and then still hide every once in a while. Now you are senior minister. You are the face of Unity on the Bay. And when I asked him, I asked Tom, like, how do you feel about this? And he's like, this is what he's always wanted. I'm there for it. I'm so excited for it. And his eyes got watery, like he's on this journey with you.
He is. Well, he also sees the shifts that have taken place in me, right? We talked about earlier, like how Unity has saved us, and the things that we've been able to do and live into as a result of these principles and the way that it's healed us is just amazing. And so he sees the benefits of it, right? Like I would not be as good of a husband or good of a father if I wasn't allowing myself to continue to evolve into the principles and into living my purpose.
Oh, I love that. Okay, and I'm gonna show you guys a picture of Tom and Juan. Aren't they adorable? I told you they were adorable. I'm just saying. All right, let's get into some Bible stuff.
Okay.
Why do the Republicans and these LGBTQ these evangelicals use the Bible against us constantly?
Because we let them.
Wow. It's so true.
When all of a sudden they start quoting the Bible, like a lot of people like shut down, right? Because they've been hurt by the Bible or by religion, and so they don't know how to speak up against it or highlight something different, or speak to it. And we allow them to use it as a tool of oppression and of hate, when I believe that it's really a tool of freedom and a tool of love. We just see it differently. And so to be able to have those conversations and when they quote something in the Bible, like ask, well, how do you feel about this other thing that you don't live that's also in the Bible, and then.
But I'm sorry, I'm going to cut you off. Sorry, Juan. But like, how do you this Bible was written 1,000,000 years ago, has been translated in 1,000,000 languages, right? Yeah. Like, how do you take something like that for face value? Somewhere in the Bible, it says that you shouldn't have shellfish, right? Doesn't somewhere in there it says, and somewhere in there it says that you shouldn't have tattoos either.
Right.
So
I don't think you take it for face value, right? I think most people, when they really sit with it, they realize that there's different lenses that they can look at the Bible through. One of them is cultural. It spoke to the culture that was going on in the time that it was written. It wasn't meant to tell us how to live 2,000 years ago.
Yeah.
You can also look at it through metaphysics, which is like, well, everybody represents something. It's what we teach at Unity. Everybody in the Bible represents something within me, the things that I like about myself, the things that I don't like about myself, and how to come to peace with it. So it's just looking at it in a different way. But I would just say, let's not let the religious right and the politicians use the Bible against us.
I love that, though. Why do they use it? Because we let them. Okay, so someone's abuela, right, pops out with Leviticus 18:22, which is what they're always throwing at us, right? Man will not lie with man. Is that what it says? Something like that along the line somewhere?
Somewhere along the line.
Okay. So what do you respond to that? What should our viewer respond to their abuela when they throw that at them?
With family, I think it's you don't go into the religious part. You don't go. There was a study I remember that was done that especially like Hispanic families more than religion, what they care about is the family being happy. And so what I would say to Abuela is like, yeah, and being with so-and-so, makes me happy. I feel loved. I feel appreciated. Being gay makes me feel whole and complete. And like I could have a happy and joyous life. Do you want that for me?
Oh, I love that. I love that. So you're responding with love. It's just that we get so defensive, Juan, because because it's who we are. You're literally telling me I'm an abomination. You're telling me that my love is not as good as your love, So you automatically want something good to throw back at them, but you should just take a breath and tell them just that. At the end of the day, like Teresa's mom is, just very anti-LGBT. She's a Trumper, okay? But at the end of the day, she wants her daughter happy. Right? And because of that statement right there, she's welcomed me with open arms. It took that for us to get connected, And I think that everybody else could have that opportunity too. What affirmation or a quote or something do you find yourself constantly going to?
Well, one that we sort of mentioned earlier, We're All Just Walking Each Other Home by Ram Dass. He's one of my spiritual gurus because I always really just love that it reminds us that we're on this journey together.
Yeah.
And then the other a Bible quote, is from Matthew that just says, where two or more are gathered in my name, there I am, it says God. And I honestly believe that I experience God through the relationships. When two or three or more are gathered, like it's about the relationships. So how am I experiencing God in each and every one of my relationships?
Wow. Powerful stuff. Wow. You know that it's so funny because you were Reverend Juan when I first met you, and then we became friends. So like even when we're out like having dinner or something, I still call you Reverend Juan, right? And I don't think that's ever going to go away. I'm sorry.
Well, and sometimes I'm like, just Juan in front of all these other people.
No, it's not like we're in the middle of the same gala. Reverend Juan, what do you want to drink? I'm online. He's like, just Juan is okay. Qué pena. All right, so
But the vodka.
But the vodka, make sure it's a double.
Yeah.
Okay, so here at the FayWhat show, we play a kind of a version of like an or game, right? It's a speed round, and it's FayWhat asks, what is it? What is it, Steve? FayWhat says what? Say what with FayWhat. There you go. We just started a brand new game with Reverend Juan, all right? And it's just basically how people get to know our guest a little more, right? So it's just like a quick round, nothing crazy. And are you ready?
Maybe.
Ready.
Was that part of it? Was that the beginning?
No.
Did I just screw it up? Okay.
No.
Okay.
All right. Say what with FayWhat. Here we go. Bolognese or pesto?
Pesto.
Sushi or Mexican?
Sushi.
Stranger Things or Game of Thrones?
Stranger Things.
RuPaul's Drag Race All-Stars, Jinx Monsoon or The Vivian?
Jinx Monsoon. I'm offended with that question.
Amazon or Uber Eats?
Amazon.
Trader Joe's or Whole Foods?
Whole Foods.
Lady Gaga or Beyonce?
Lady Gaga and Beyonce.
You can't.
Why do you have to choose?
You can't. Well, it is true. It is Lady Gaga and Beyonce. No, I'd pick both of them too. You're right there. Peloton or CrossFit?
Well, I have a Peloton and I better get on it soon.
See, that was for you, Tom. Will and Grace or Queer as Folk?
Will and Grace.
Jennifer Lopez or Jennifer Aniston?
Jennifer Lopez.
Ricky Martin or Enrique Iglesias?
Enrique Iglesias.
There it is! Thank you for playing Say What with FayWhat, Reverend Juan del Hierro.
I love it.
Thank you for being on the FayWhat show.
You got better with it just in like 15, 20 minutes.
God, you're
amazing.
A miracle worker.
Amazing.
You're a miracle worker. I'm going to be walking on water after this. You see? Reverend Juan del Hierro, make sure that you look up Unity on the Bay. UnityOnTheBay.org is our website. If you come to service, please come and say hello. I'm usually the one hosting there. My beautiful counterpart, Miss Shantae, is also up there. And Reverend Anna has now joined our crew. So hello to my Boricua sister, Reverend Anna Quintana. Everything that you want to know about Unity on the Bay is on our website and also on YouTube. And Juan del Hierro, you could also follow him on all social media outlets. All the information is below. Thank you for being with me.
Thank you for having me. This is great.
I have a feeling this won't be the last time you be with me.
Good, because this is a really comfy bed. I love it.
Yeah. I love it.
And I got these new pajamas for
No,
this.
I'm loving the pajamas.
I have to keep wearing it.
And I cleaned the sheets because some other gay boys were on this before, and I have mad respect for my Reverend. So everything is clean and nice and sanitized. Pa que lo sepa, I just want you to know. No, you don't have to say anything. All right. Love you guys. Love you, Reverend. Thank you so much. We'll be right back. So, did you enjoy the show? I know you did, so make sure to click subscribe so you won't miss any of the events, news, or interviews right here on the FayWhat show. Ring the bell at the bottom of the screen, right there, so you'll be alerted every time we're live. You can also click on the Happening Out Television Network logo, so you can see all of the shows on the most diverse LGBTQ+ media network. Find out just what we're doing to bring the L and the G together right here on the FayWhat show. Get the week started with me.